cameras on me.
I'm just living the dream. I'm in love with the lights. This is not just a game. This here is my life. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah. Put the cameras on me, yeah, yeah.
I'm coming clutch, no stick shift. OZone is my witness.
Hello, everybody. Live from a hot and sweaty Koreatown. It is the Ozone. I'm your host, Omar Miller. I'm here with my brother from the same mother, Terry Miller. How you feeling?
Hot. It's hot.
It's
Again.
hot. Just
We're
like
coming
that
in hot.
Astro shirt.
Yeah.
Coming in hot. Ooh.
Nice Houston Star right there.
Game is on right now.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
I'm envious of the people who get to watch it.
Ooh, I know. But we got to work, ladies and gentlemen. So we got a nice show for you today. We have a special guest, somebody that's helped me out in my career and has achieved wonderful heights in the career in the field of entertainment. We have Mekhi Phifer on the show today, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be joining us shortly. We're going to speak about the Major League Baseball playoffs, which are ongoing currently, and you would think it would be pretty clear who's going to the World Series, but you never know. Speak about that continuing rash of injuries in the NFL. Was it Dirty Pool that got that man hurt? That bad man, did he get hurt on a reason by design? And the Patriots struggled a little bit. And big news we got is tonight is opening tip-off for the National Basketball Association. Man, King
LeBron
James.
James lead the league.
So, yeah, it's time for King James to kick off his quest. And I'm interested to see how it's going to start because they did it on purpose to start with high drama and animosity.
Well, you know what? They didn't plan that out. You can't plan that out.
What are you talking about? They set the schedule like that. Of course they planned that out.
Well, I'm talking about the Kyrie situation. You can't plan that.
Well, they can't.
The
They
schedule's
can't
already
plan-
made.
No, it's not.
When did they make it? Last week?
Why they can't? No, they make it. I think they make it.
No.
They do that on purpose.
No.
Just like they decided last.
Well, they might have decided that Boston was going to play, but we didn't know that the drama of, Kyrie being on Boston was going to be there.
No, they didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think that what they do is they take the playoff matchups.
Oh, no question.
So they stay with what was most recently, in everybody's mind. And the last series before the finals for the Cavs was with the Celtics.
Right.
So they go with that. But then again, I don't know about that because then they go Golden State and the Rockets, which now there was no way, the firepower that's down there now, still no defense, but the firepower that's down there is very interesting to see what's what.
Well, you know what? And I'm not a crazy Golden State fan, but they do have nice defense in Golden State. That they don't
Yeah,
get
they're
credit
serious
for.
about that.
Yeah, they don't get credit for it.
And you saw Draymond said something about that.
What Dre say?
It was Dre Day.
Yo, hit him, Dre. Yo, Dre.
What's up? Yeah, Dre said, he said, what do you think about facing Chris Paul and James Harden on opening night? And he was like, they're good, but I don't know how serious them dudes take defense down there.
That's just everybody knows.
He kept it 100.
Defense is not serious.
Not on any D'Antoni squad
D'Antoni
ever
is not
coached,
serious.
ever.
That's the last thing he wants to talk about is defense. He's worried about getting 60 to 75 threes up.
Got to put him up. Shoot it. Put it up. He wants to put it up.
Does.
Wow. Yeah, so, I think that we're on high alert. We're on high alert for high drama, but I want to talk about what's going on most pressing in the world of sports, which are the baseball playoffs.
Serious business going on right now.
It's serious business. Now, as it would look like, you would think that it's going to be after the first couple games, thrilling games of the National League Championship Series.
National pins and needles got you sitting on the edge of your chair right now.
Every single game is a tight one. In the American League, the first two games had I think a combined score of 5 runs.
Something like that. 2-1, 2-1.
2-1, 2-1. 1-2, 1-2.
Check,
Yeah.
Mike. Check a one.
And you're seeing the best players in baseball. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah, and everything gets tight now. Things are tightening up. Last night we saw some bad pitching, which led to some bombs. But other than that, how many home runs have you seen really? JT let go. Justin Turner.
Oh man, on the anniversary of Kirk Gibson's bomb.
Crazy, right?
That's unreal.
That's crazy.
That's unreal. And as
29
we're
years
talking about
ago?
it, 29 years to the day, and he goes deep dead center.
Yeah.
Now, why do you think Joe Madden decided to come back with John Lackey when the night before Justin Turner had already busted him up?
Well, I would like to see what their depth chart is looking like because they're going back to the same guys, and you're going to John Lackey. If you're going to go with starters, though, why don't you pull out somebody who's credible? I mean, get somebody who can actually look like they can shut it down. John Lackey's at the end of his career.
Yeah, and he was a bulldog for sure.
Yeah, and he did his thing. He was a great pitcher. But what he's done now is that everybody knows, the good hitters know, they lay off the pitches in the dirt. They get him in the hole. Now you have a hitter's count, just like JT did, and go to launch.
Now, tell me your theory, because I feel like you have a wonderful theory when it comes to – I feel like you have a great theory when it comes to starters pitching.
Well, I feel
not in starter situations.
Right. They need to start off with clean innings, and also the rhythm is off because everybody is a creature of habit. So if you bring in a John Lackey who doesn't get to stretch and warm up like he normally does, it's sort of different. Now, some of the cagey veterans, they can do that. But for most part, all of the starters have a problem coming in relief. We saw Chris Sale have a problem. We saw, who else was it? It was Justin
Verlander.
Verlander.
Had a problem starting the game, too, though. He
Justin
gave up
Verlander.
7.
Now we see John Lackey. They could do it, but they need to start off in a clean inning, and they also need to have Max Scherzer, and you also need to take your time to prepare to get mentally. I think it's a mental preparation as well.
Yeah, these guys think about starting their game
and their game
probably
plan
the day before, 2 days before the game is actually happening.
Yes, and then
that's not the reliever's approach. The reliever's approach is, I'm hyped up on adrenaline. I'm coming in. I'm shutting them down. Yeah, let's do it. Come on.
Yeah, and you see these guys, and they're not like that. I mean, they take time to get loose, and you'll see him rush a John Lackey in within an inning, in the middle of an inning, half an inning or something like that. That's not his normal gig.
My thing is in that situation, we're talking about the Cubs-Dodgers game, folks. In that situation, you bring Lackey in. He got 2 outs, I do believe, and then he walked Chris Taylor. That was the point that you needed to go to someone else. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback, obviously, but I felt like that was clearly the point when you needed to go to someone else, as opposed to
they should have went to with somebody else a long time ago with just getting new players. Hector Rondon, Pedro
but they tried. It's because I'll say this: they got did. Justin. They tried. They got Justin Wilson, who from the Tigers, who was having a fantastic year as a closer for the Tigers. And I know because he was on my fantasy squad.
You appreciated the year.
I appreciated his work.
A nice bottle of what?
A nice bottle 98 he gives you.
Oh, nice bottle.
He throws, 96, 98,
from
something
the left
like that.
side.
Yeah. But the thing is then he got over to Chicago and he hasn't been able to find the strike zone.
When you still got to ride him, though. You can't just,
I agree.
You just can't, like Carl Edwards.
They left him off the roster. He's not even on. They can't ride him because he's not even on the roster.
Yeah, see, that's not acceptable. But you'll take John Lackey and try to ride him just by namesake. That's not enough if you want to win this thing. But the thing about the Cubs is that they've been there before, so now you don't have to worry about them being in panic mode. So they feel like they can come back. And I actually feel like they're going to win this game tonight because Kyle Hendricks is not he's a soft tosser. You know, he hits his spots, he changes speeds, and that's what really gets guys out. This seems like the most effective way to pitch nowadays because everybody's so hyped up on velocity nowadays that everybody's sitting in there just ready to crush something.
Yeah, and guys are swinging as hard as they can with pitchers throwing as hard as they can, which results in more distance.
Yeah, what you saw Ty Frazier do last night. He just stuck his bat out and went deep to right field off of some hard, heavy cheese.
Yeah, a sink piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Didn't drop?
Away.
Yeah, and, I think you're right about that. I think that the starters need to come in a scenario – when they're ready to do that, they need to come in a scenario. It needs to be very specific.
Right.
And even like a guy like Verlander actually, Chris Sale and Verlander, when they came in relief out there in Boston, both of them actually pitched well after they gave up.
They gave up the booty.
Which is, as a starter, not that big of a deal. If you give up 2 runs in the first inning as a starter, that's fine. You might give up 2 over 7.
Right. But Max Scherzer did the same thing, and he ended up giving up 4, but 2 earnies.
Yeah, but that was a debacle. His team was on the take.
Yeah, they let him down.
They let him down.
Jay Worth, Matt Wieters, you can't do that.
No, come on, man. I mean, we have a lot to cover because we covered it before the games, but I said the Cubs were going to win. Fell for the banana in the tailpipe, thinking that somehow or another the Nationals weren't going to be the Nationals. I think it's time for you to add Dusty Baker to that list of people that need to retire.
Yeah, definitely.
Along with the football quarterbacks.
I'm ashamed of myself because I bought into it and felt like that Dusty Baker might finally be able to get over the hump with all the talent he has.
Crazy talent.
But he does everything that he can. It's a nice guy, but
nicest guy.
Yeah, but he does everything that he can to lose. I mean, if Max Scherzer can pitch 2 innings in middle relief,
why can't he start?
Why he can't?
Why not? He is the best pitcher in baseball, arguably. It's either him or Clayton Kershaw. It's not like
let him get out there.
And if he gives up the booty as a starter, he just gives it up as a starter.
And then you bring in Gio, but Gio got a 4-run cushion and then fell apart.
Gio, who is the homie, had a 4-run cushion and messed around. I just can't believe this. Messed around and walked the leadoff runner when you got a 4-1 lead.
Can't do that.
You can't do that.
You got to go right after them guys. They go deep.
Make
they go
them hit.
deep.
Yeah, make them hit the
But
ball.
you can't walk people. You can't give up. You can't go deep in counts. You have a 4-run cushion. If you watch the game, you'll recognize that when pitchers, good pitchers especially, have a lead, they pitch different.
Exactly.
It's a different game plan
Look
now.
at CeCe last night.
Yeah. You gave him that cushion, he went to work.
Went to work.
Especially with that bad strike zone umpire had. I mean, that dude's strike zone was all over the place, and CeCe took advantage of it.
Yep.
And that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to, but if you give CeCe a 4-run lead, a 3-run lead, he's going
to be very difficult for you to get all 4 of those or all 3 of those back. He might even give back 1 or 2. He had that big lead and he walked someone. He walked the leadoff batter and he looked like he was sick with himself on the mound.
I know better than this.
Like, wait a minute.
I know better.
They didn't give me 161 to do this. I didn't get 161 million to walk a leadoff runner after getting a 5-run lead.
Now, let me ask you this, though. When you talk about John Lackey and whatnot, why can't Jake Arrieta come in relief in that situation?
I have no idea.
He seems like he would be better suited to come in relief than John Lackey.
And then come back and start.
Exactly.
Just, if nothing else, because of his physical conditioning.
Now, I'm looking at they have Brian Dunsing. Let's see.
They had Mike Montgomery, Hector Rondon were the guys who were actually warm. Those guys were actually loose.
And Mike Montgomery is struggling. Terrible. I think his ERA is in the 20s.
Wow. Yeah, that's because that's because the Dodgers had touched him up just before.
Yeah.
And
Pedro Strop.
Yeah. Well, I think Pedro Strop might have already thrown in that game, actually. But it all goes to say, in October, the best play the best, and that includes the managers.
Yes.
Because what you see is honestly, Dave Roberts kind of introduced a new style of managing last year.
Yep.
And it worked very well for them because I don't think people really give him credit for what he did last year. The Dodgers had a lot of injuries last year, and he was able to plug and play with duct tape and bubble gum and get within 2 games of advancing to the World Series.
Well, if you look at those lineups that he's putting out there now and you match it to the Cubs lineup, there's no way that you would even think they would be able to contend.
No way.
Or to compete with
them. Adrian Gonzalez.
Come on, man.
An ineffective Cody Bellinger. No Corey Seager. And Puig batting in the 8-hole.
So we're hitting you with Culberson and Logan Forsythe.
Who, by the way, is balling, surprisingly.
And now they're winning. So, you have to give him credit. I still wouldn't want to roll with it, that kind of lineup, because eventually it'll catch up with you.
But for right now, it's going down.
Now, it's working because actually you can feel that the Cubs aren't what they were last year.
You can really feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it.
And even the Cub, front office feels it. They know.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a good time, actually. We got to speak to some of the Cubs ownership at the Chavez Ravine. Great guys, actually.
Yeah,
makes it hard to root against the Cubs because their owners are such fun guys.
So nice.
Yeah, really, really cool guys. They had a lot of respect every time they see you. Just, they love the game. They love their team. And I'm happy in that sense. I'm happy that they won. They invited us out to Chicago to watch a couple games.
Yep.
I told them I didn't know if I could make it because I didn't appreciate all the celebration that goes on every time I go out there. He said, oh, well, this time if we know you're coming, we won't celebrate.
We'll do it indoors.
I thought that was awesome. Great line, Tom and Tom. But yeah, so it's an interesting scenario. I personally, right now, I still think that it's going to be the Dodgers and the Astros, and I think that Corey Seager will be back for that. And honestly, I'm going with the Dodgers. I've been thinking about it a lot, and the Astros are a juggernaut. Astros are a serious problem because they got all angles. Only weak link that I see is deep starters, not deep meaning you're back into the rotation.
Right.
And certain relief, I'm not. That situation last night with Will Harris was completely confusing.
That's shame on
Will Harris.
On Will Harris,
he shook off Evan Gattis,
and basically they would have to take control of that situation. I don't think that it'll happen again.
If you don't know what we're talking about, the game 3, Will Harris is in relief. Aaron Judge, who struck out a record 22 times. By the way, he just struck out again.
I saw it. Lance McCullers gave it to him.
And he struck out a ton of times. He gets ahead of him with an off-speed pitch. Then he throws the fastball right down the middle, to which Judge fouls it right back. Everybody that's ever played any level of baseball, higher level of baseball, knows when a guy fouls you right back,
he is on you.
He's on you. And if you foul a guy right back, chances are you're not going to see that pitch again. Unless a guy just has like plus stuff and he's like, forget it. Just hit it
out.
Yeah, like Aroldis Chapman or somebody like that.
Will Harris does not have plus.
Will Harris does not have plus.
He does not even have must.
He doesn't even have plus. He just has stuff. and he got took deep. So this kind of stuff, I'm interested to
He's
see.
shaking off the catcher, and I would like to hear that conversation when they went in the dugout. That's what I told you last night when we spoke, because I was telling you I would like to hear that conversation, because Evan Gaddis, he shook Evan Gaddis off, I do believe, twice.
Shook him off a couple times.
Yeah,
Gaddis, I wouldn't be
and
surprised.
even John Smoltz said something about it.
I wouldn't be surprised if Evan Gaddis told him what was coming.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, here comes the cheese again.
Here comes his pus.
Here comes his pus.
Yeah, and he grooves it and gets smashed.
Groove me, baby, tonight. Oh. Ooh, nice. Yeah, so, I'm interested to see what's going to happen there. We got a long ways to go, though. This series and this October so far has shown you actually don't know what's going to happen in baseball,
Which is great.
Which is what makes it superior to the other sports, in my opinion.
Now, the Astros right now, they're the smaller market in the whole thing right now, right?
Yeah, they're
easily
by far the smallest.
You got the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. Come on.
You're talking about two of the potential biggest World Series matchups of all time if you go Dodgers-Yankees or Cubs-Yankees. Those ratings will be through the roof. And unlike the rest of sports, I don't feel like Major League Baseball is going to cheat and make sure that the Yankees make it, or make sure that one of the, in the National League, one of the big market teams is making it. That's just how it's going.
Yeah, and it's hard to cheat in baseball, not like football and basketball where you can have one ref that's a rogue agent. Baseball, you need a whole bunch of people in on the fix.
Yep.
And the strike zone, there's a
lot of stuff that has to happen.
A lot of variables that are going on there, and I don't think that you can do it.
Now, the last thing that I want to cover in the world of Major League Baseball is something that we spoke about on the OZone back in April. And I think it may come to bite the Yankees.
Which is?
Dylan Betances can't pitch.
Yeah. They messed up his head.
They've messed up his head.
They scrambled his eggs soft.
Soft.
How would you like your eggs?
Oh, you know what? I'll take a scramble soft. Please. And some cheese on the side, because he still throws 98.
Still throws 98.
Problem is his mechanics are messed up, and I think more than his mechanics are messed up, his mental mechanics are messed up.
He's flawed right now.
Yeah, and this is
and
a serious problem.
That's a product of what they did to him.
That's a product of arbitration. If you don't know what happened, we spoke on it on the OZone at the beginning of the year. Dylan Betances, who, without question, was one of the
most dominant relievers in all of baseball.
That's what I'm saying. He was up for the most valuable reliever conversation easily for the past 3 years. Now this year, he struggled during the year. He had stretches when he was completely unhittable, like himself. Then he had other stretches when he couldn't get anybody out. And now they put him in an 8-0 game, and he walks the first two batters.
And he's all over the place. I mean, literally all
Honestly,
over.
It's dangerous to get in the box against Dylan Betances right now.
And if you've ever seen him in person, the dude is a giant.
He's really like
6'8", 6'7", something like that.
He's really big.
And a big dude too, not like a wiry.
Bigger than Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Everybody now knows how big Aaron Judge is based on, they constantly put out 6'7", 280. I'd be amazed if Dylan doesn't weigh 300-something pounds.
I would be very amazed.
He's a giant. He's like Shaquille kind of big. He's a really, really big guy.
You see him and, whoa!
Yeah.
Hey, dude, I'm sorry.
You see him and it makes things uncomfortable.
It does.
Because people are going to point and kids are going to run. But he's also lights out. That's part of the reason
he was lights out.
He was lights out. And the Yankees need him in the back of that rotation.
I really believe that, because eventually they're going to catch up with Dave Robertson.
That's what I think. I don't think Dave Robertson's going to be sharp the whole playoffs, but you never know. He's a veteran,
right?
And then you have Conley, who's a young kid who also blows cheese, but
he's out. He's a little bit. His
he's
control is out
at
there.
Times. Yeah,
throw
exactly.
99, but
and you got Chapman, who now actually is locked in, but the Astros just seem to know how to hit.
Yeah,
because they hit velocity very well,
and they hit good pitching, which is very, very rare and important.
Yep,
especially in these kind of games.
Yep, tight games.
Yeah, that game last night was the first game that actually there was a wide margin where you feel like this game is out of control. I honestly thought that the Astros still might come back on them though.
In the ninth or just late?
Just late.
Yeah.
It's one of those games where you turn it off and you wake up and then you come back 3 innings later and you're like, oh wow,
8-7. Kind of like that Cubs game the other night.
Yeah,
kind of like that Cubs Nationals game the other night. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this shakes out, because you know what? If the Yankees pull this game off today, you got a different series on your hands.
Yeah,
because Severino looked really good. He looked like Severino.
But then he got hit on his hand, though. How do you think this?
They say he got hit on his forearm. I do believe he's okay. They say. Okay. You know what they said that I really liked?
What they tell you?
They said he was hopping mad because Joe Girardi took him out, and he was mad like the whole next day because he said, "No, I'm fine."
I think the kid has a problem because he can't control his emotions in big games. He
He
obviously
showed up
has,
the other night.
He obviously has the stuff, but he just has a problem controlling. He showed up once, but but he obviously has a problem controlling
He's
his
actually
emotions.
pitched twice well. He's pitched.
I don't remember the other one.
Didn't he pitch well in the second game against Cleveland? It was just the game. It was the first game that he actually won. I think the game that the Yankees won 1-0 with Greg Bird hitting the home run. I think that was him. I think he was the starter in that game. Anywho, you got Severino and Tanaka coming back, and both of them gave up a combined 1 run earned over I think 12, 13 innings.
Because you're talking about the Astros coming back with Verlander and Keuchel actually owns the Yankees.
I agree, but the games were tight. And in those tight games, they can go either way. That's my point.
Yeah.
The tight games can go either way.
And if we're going to go with defense, I would have to definitely go with the Astros because the Yankees, I don't feel like the defense is tight.
Even though Cameron Maybin surprised me last night.
That was terrible.
What was
terrible
that?
work. And everybody was looking at him like, what are you doing?
He ran under the ball like
and then didn't even extend his arm.
Yeah, man. I don't understand. But yeah, so we got that. We got that in the world of Major League Baseball. I want to move into football because I lost my fantasy game again.
Well, how many? What's your record?
2-3.
How do you feel about that?
Or am I 2-4? I don't feel good because I can't seem to navigate the bye weeks properly. They keep getting me where 2 guys are on a bye week, so I have to run to the waiver wire and pick up somebody. And in football, the guys you pick up on the waiver wire are usually not really that productive.
I think that you can find a lot of nice pieces on the waiver wire nowadays, especially since there's so many injuries.
It's a lot of injuries.
So
I would go as far as to say there is a plethora of injuries.
You're going with a plethora.
Yes.
Nice word.
Thank you.
Pulled out a plethora.
I've been working on it. I had to pull him out. I put the cameras on me. Yeah. So, So it didn't work out well for me. Surprising to both of us, Derek Carr actually did play for the Raiders.
Yeah. I'm surprised. He wasn't effective, really, but he played.
No, he wasn't effective. He was out there.
And I think that I'm not surprised about the Raiders, but I'm very disappointed in him because he's their whole organization, and I don't understand why you would bring him back like that. It's just the whole organization is just not that important to win that game.
It's important to win that game.
I gotta have it. They need more cowbell.
They need more cowbell.
It's not that important, dude. Let Carr sit down and heal his back because he's one hit away from being Tony Romo.
Man,
literally.
Wow, I didn't even think of it that way.
Come on, and those guys are going to go for it.
Yeah,
and then everybody can't be up in arms when he gets hurt. That's a shame on the Raiders. They should keep him on the sideline until he's ready.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about on the flip side? Even though the Raiders lost on the last second, it wasn't like they got smoked, but they lost on the last second field goal.
But they're playing against the Chargers.
Yeah, playing against the Chargers.
The Chargers are terrible.
Tell me how you really feel. Your boy Jay Cutler pulled out a dub. What's going on with your Falcons? How did the Dirty Birds let old high Jay Cutler pull out a stoner Jay Cutler pull out a
once
dub?
Again, we have to the Falcons aren't going anywhere. They need a new coach because that coach does not want to run the ball.
Doesn't want to run the ball.
And you're giving me
Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman can't get enough touches.
Hey man,
you guys are the high power offense.
You got the lead now. Pound. You got 2.
Why are they allergic to running the football in Atlanta?
Exactly. They turned into the Saints. And by the way, who have a great defense right now.
What's up with that?
It's been the last few weeks. If you're on the fantasy board, you should pick up the Saints defense. They're real.
Yeah.
They gave me 30 last week.
Sean Payton got serious about it.
Yeah. But you know what? But the Saints actually ran the ball last week as well.
Even though I can't really say that a great defense gives up 38 points in a game. But
no, but it wasn't. But that wasn't the defense that gave that up. They got it on picks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Turnovers. They got a fumble in the end zone and things like that.
And so on.
And so forth.
But back to this coach. Why do the Atlanta Falcons why are they averse to actually running the ball?
I don't know. Do you think it's an ego thing? I don't know what it is with them. But
I think it's
they
an ego
actually
thing.
lost a Super Bowl because they refused to run the ball, let's say, literally 5 times. 5 times equals almost 5 minutes. What do you got? 5 minutes is probably, 3:40?
They needed the whole clock just to come back, let alone to win the game.
Yes.
The Patriots needed the entire second half to come back.
To keep Tom Brady off the field, and they refused to do it.
And now they're still refusing
to do
it.
Because
they were up 17-0?
There's never any reason to lose to Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler should even be in the league.
Tell me how you really feel.
Nobody likes Jay Cutler. Not like, like
Dude,
that.
Jay's not cool. He can't sit with me. I don't know if nobody likes him, But I don't think Jay Cutler, obviously Stephen Ross, who owns the Dolphins, likes him.
I don't think he likes him. Gase wanted to bring him in because that's his man. I want to bring in my man.
Brought in his man, and he got him a dub last week.
Yeah.
That was a surprise to me.
Well, they were up, what was it, 17-0, 20-0 or something crazy? And then you watch the score slowly but surely, the uptake, and I'm thinking to myself, are you kidding? And they shut down Julio Jones? I don't care if you pick the ball off. If I have to throw it to Julio Jones 15 times, I got to force the issue. But I'm not going to let the Dolphins shut me down.
Not there. Not like that.
Not like this, Gus. Not in front of my fans.
Shout out to Sugar Hill, anybody who doesn't know. And you said, you saw the Patriots struggling with the Jets. You knew they were going to come back because it is what it is. But they look bad early.
Well, and they look bad late.
Bad late.
I just think that we're finally starting to watch Tom Brady, the league catch up with him.
Yeah, I mean, Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah, and it's not his fault, but you can see that he's just a little tick behind.
Yep.
His passes aren't as sharp or where they're supposed to be. I saw him throw the ball up, just literally up for grabs.
He needs, and the thing I think too, he needs all of his weapons.
He needs them all, and especially since he relies on Julian Edelman so much that he wants, anytime he gets in trouble with his checkdowns, he can always rely on Julian Edelman to be running a crossing route underneath.
Something.
And then what they were doing too, which I give kudos to the refs, is that they were calling all those pick plays that the Patriots run because they're known for running pick plays, and their whole playbook is full of pick plays.
And now I wonder what it is that makes one crew decide, you know what, today's the day. We got to call the pick plays.
Right. And you know what? And maybe it was something where the Jets coach called up and said, hey, you know what? You need to watch them for the pick play. Because I'm sure that the league has been complaining about them because they do it all the time. And all the teams run pick plays. But the Patriots' whole schemes they're designed around the pick play. So you watch all the crossing routes and Gronk, they'll pick somebody so Gronk can end up wide open. You're like, wow, Gronk is wide open. Who would do that? But you see the defender laying on the ground because he got picked.
Yeah. And I just want to take a moment of silence for the undefeated record of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Had to happen. You're happy. You're a Dolphin fan.
Dade County, baby. I'm down there. But you know what? This is a very even though I think they play in Broward. But it's that was a good game that Antonio Brown bailed out your boy.
Yeah. Big Ben.
All day AB bailed out Big Ben. And watching them, I don't think the Steelers are going anywhere.
Definitely. And then they rode your boy Le'Veon.
Finally.
So the wheels fell off. But
they need to.
Yeah, but he's still not as effective because they know that they can, Big Ben is not what he used to be.
Right.
He used to be able to scramble and get out of when you try to sack him. He can run around the field for about 20 seconds and make something happen. That's not there anymore, which is going to bring down there. And Martavis Bryant is asking to be traded now.
Wow.
Yeah. They have problems down there. And I also never really felt the coaches work like that much.
You didn't like Mike Tomlin. I don't know why.
Because he never – in big games, he always had a problem. I have a problem when you have a problem in the big games where your game plan just doesn't seem like it's right.
He's won 2 rings.
He's got him 2, but that's when Big Ben was like –
could have won 3 or 4, to be honest.
He ran to the Ravens.
They could have – well, I didn't think they weren't better than the Ravens. But I meant that the one that I went to down in Dallas at Jerry World against the Packers, they could have won that one.
Right.
They could have won that one. But speaking of the Packers, did you think it was a late hit on Aaron Rodgers?
No. I mean, I'm so sick and tired of everybody acting like Aaron Rodgers walks on water. Aaron Rodgers needs to play the game. They've already adjusted the league so much that it's just a corporate league right now. You changed the rules from Tom Brady. You changed the rules from Peyton Manning. And now what are you going to change the rules? How are these guys going to be so fast and so big running full speed and then stop on a dime because he threw the ball? I can't do it. If you got a 275-pound guy who runs a 4.40 or 4.6 or whatever you want in the fours,
right,
and he's running full speed trying to sack you, and then you pass the ball and you think that he's going to stop, it's not possible. He didn't do it with malice. He drove him into the ground. They're taught to stick the guys.
Drive you into the ground.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tom Brady, where was that, against Cincinnati when they went low on his legs? Now you got the Brady rule, so now you can't go low on the quarterback's legs. I mean, where is it that you can do? Why don't we just let them stand back there and play flag football?
Well, it's very similar to the rules that they changed in baseball. You have Buster Posey. I mean, that play pretty much was the insurance run that the Dodgers needed.
Sure was.
in the championship.
But they
series
said
game.
in that play he touched the plate, and I don't agree.
I thought that the final ruling was about the blocking the plate.
I thought the final ruling was that he scratched the plate.
No.
I need to look that up.
It was about Wilson Contreras giving him a lane. And,
give me the lane.
Yeah, and I don't know how you can root for that unless you just recently started watching baseball. Really. That's the only way that I can see that you being a part of that rule and feeling like that rule is a good idea.
Yeah, and any purist who watches the game, nobody is really, literally down with that.
We've had 2 guys get hurt now. We've had Buster Posey get hurt directly, and you had not Ruben Tejada. Yeah, Ruben Tejada. Was it Ruben Tejada? Yeah, Ruben Tejada that got
second
hurt.
with Chase Utley.
Yeah, and now those 2 plays directly resulted in rule changes that now have actually factored into the games in high-level areas. This is the same thing actually with Lobaton that got picked off backpicked in that in the deciding game of the division series, and Lobaton gets picked off even though he got back to the bag. If you've ever played baseball, it's very difficult to keep your foot on the bag. And the reason I'm back on this is because you were talking about the momentum that a guy has. It's very difficult to keep your body completely contorted on a bag while you're running full speed.
Running full speed.
And not hurt yourself.
Exactly.
In an attempt to make sure that you don't hurt the other guy who has played his whole life and been taught how to not get hurt.
Exactly.
Doing these plays.
And so when they lay the tag on him and that joker slides through the bag and you got the tag on him and you hold it there for 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Can I get timeout?
Yeah. And I hit the bag. You don't want me to come off at all? There's got to be some kind of leeway there. There got to be some kind of give.
They got to do something.
You can't just have these guys stop on the dime. Just like your man got stuck in mud last night when he got picked off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rule changes are tricky because you want to keep the essence of the game. Nobody wants to see guys getting hurt, I don't think, in any sport. But what I've found is if you're taught to play fundamentally and you execute fundamentally sound play, you don't usually have to worry about getting hurt, to be honest.
And not that many catchers complained about getting clocked at home plate. Some of the guys I used to play with, they used to actually enjoy the home plate collision. We sat next to Mr. Dave Winfield at the baseball game, and he was talking about how, now, if this was in my time, I would have just knocked that man on his butt. Yeah.
And it is what it is. As Mike Scioscia, as
Steve
any of those
Yeager,
guys. Yeah.
All those guys.
Yeah. And it changes the game.
It changes the outcome, just like that putting up 4 fingers.
Just like putting up 4 fingers. Come on. But anyways, back to football. Sorry, side check you guys back to baseball. But yeah, this is the NFL's really in the squeeze here because between the rule changes, their stars getting hurt, the president being involved, Cheeto being involved with protests and political stunts,
calling back behind the scenes to talk to these owners, all with the majority, which the majority of them voted for him and supported.
And we're donors,
and donors that support his campaign.
You vote who you vote for, but at the same time, being a donor on a large scale is a different animal,
right?
Because usually that's wrought with expectation of some sort of, help.
And now the NFL is working on trying to make these guys, put in a rule so that they have to actually stand during the anthem.
Yeah.
I just don't
Trucker Dave broke that last week.
Yeah. They're having the meeting, actually, I do believe today, though.
Wow. Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's crazy because, but the league, just to go to show how divided America is on the issue, the NFL is actually being affected by people boycotting the NFL.
Yeah, and I read an article about that as well, though. It's not just the boycott, but there's other things that are going on because you have natural disasters.
You have natural disasters.
Yeah, you have other forms of entertainment out there now with all the, the different pay.
You have the fact that the games are now on 3 days a week as opposed to just one like it was before. And then 2, and now it's stretched to 3, and then in a couple of months it's going to be on 4 days. It's going to be Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday nights.
And it's a wonder these guys can even walk.
Yeah, and what Richard Sherman said last year was that the quality of the actual product goes down, which makes people not want to
And
watch.
I think that what hurts the league more so than anything is just this corporate thing that's going on where, you're changing all the rules. You're making it more like arena football. It's not hard-nosed football anymore. It's watered down.
Well, I think there's another piece as well, which is the protest, but not only the protest for the people who are against Colin Kaepernick. Mm-hmm. There's a good amount of people who are protesting the NFL because Colin Kaepernick can't get a job, which is how, the whole situation happened where you had Spike Lee doing his protest where they marched on Park Avenue in front of the NFL's headquarters. You had 1,000 people out there who decided to come out just to speak to voice their own support of his protest.
And now Kaepernick is suing the league.
And now
About time.
Kaepernick is suing the league for collusion. Something that you suggested Barry Bonds do years ago
because
when
did
they
the same
wouldn't
thing
let
to
him play.
Yeah.
Obviously, theirs was a different motivation. Nobody was really not letting him play because of a political stunt.
Yeah,
But,
the PED situation.
Yeah. And that was just like his untold sentence for,
And being a jerk to people for so long.
and for being a jerk to the media for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's very interesting to see that this is the way people decided to get back. I wonder what it was that took Cap over the edge for him to say, you know what, I got to sue.
Well, you know
After
what?
all this time.
I had read that as well, and let me find that article because what had happened was he had, I do believe, he had went for a position again, and they wouldn't even give him a chance. They wouldn't even listen to him. Wouldn't even give him, actually try out or something.
Oh, I would like to hear about that. And that's what just took him over the top. Still think he shouldn't have turned down that $60 million that he had. I think it would come in handy at this time. But at this point, I'd be amazed if Colin Kaepernick ever plays again in the NFL. I think that he's stepped into the world of social activism, and there's a cost that comes with that, and you have to recognize that cost. And with that, your belief has to be larger than what it is that you're sacrificing. And that's him standing up for that, and all the people who are supporting him actually are risking a lot less than he is in that sense. But it's great to see people united. I just wish that it could be about what it's about. And I wish that there was a clear-cut set of guidelines to stop the protests on both sides. Because like I said before, there's no path to redemption at this rate, because I don't see anybody doing anything in this sort of situation that the other group feels is acceptable.
Well, not only when it's a problem when you have the leader of the free world also
Involved in something.
And he's got a lot more other things to do. But
But
he's involved in football.
Like Eminem said.
Yeah.
Like Eminem said.
And it doesn't make any sense. So you have that factor in there as well, But let me try to find this article because he files grievance against owners because they actually had done something which was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah, it seemed like to me he was just accepting of, the idea that he was just going to be the pariah and, the martyr in this situation. It's very interesting to me that he's the one that can't play, and now
Jay Cutler can,
and a large percentage of people who are still protesting can play.
Yeah.
And the protest that he was clear about is not the same protest that was happening now. You know what I mean? I don't believe that it's the same thing. It's a little bit hijacked. Let's get another caller in real quick. I think we got our college specialist. Ladies and gentlemen, next victim is on the line, and he's been pretty hot lately. I'm going to hear what he has to say.
Hello?
College sports specialist, next victim. You sound like you're trapped in the closet. Are you okay? Or are you just reveling in the idea of your picks and all of the braggadocious rights that you've gained from getting picks right 3 weeks straight? Talk to me, victim. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
I mean, your picks have been
Feeling
good.
real
I can't
good,
front.
man.
I wish you would be more adamant about them so that I could bet them. That's all I want to know. What is going on?
I'm trying to be cool, but it's man. I told you to roll with me. You're not listening because you're not heavily involved into the college football or college sports scene. But listen to me when I speak. I kind of know this stuff, man.
All right, victim X.
know this stuff.
I see you. Victim Little. I see you out there. Preach. What's happening? I mean, another big upset this weekend, and it's your squad that you love that you called. Clemson came up short. What happened out there?
The quarterback ended up getting hurt. They played the kid, and they shouldn't even played him. Played him for a couple of quarters. They came in. Syracuse. I love both squads. Syracuse Orangemen. I think you did something for the Syracuse Orangemen back in the day.
I did. I got to
Great
go to
show,
the Carrier
great.
Dome and watch a game, and I got to see the unveiling of the Ernie Davis statue. It was a great situation.
Nice.
Yeah, it was the legend of 32 out there, man. It's a very rich history up in Syracuse of football.
Right. And it's not publicized very much, but back to my picks to next victim X or whatever you want to call them.
Speak on
They
it.
ended up playing. It was Friday nights. It was a big game. I don't know what's going on with Friday nights, high school football. Maybe that's the thing. High school is only for Friday night lights because these college teams, the big teams, they can't play on Friday nights. We seen it happen a couple of weeks ago when I called SC losing to Washington State. It happened then. And now it's happening again with Clemson going up to Syracuse and losing by 3 to the Syracuse Orangemen. The quarterback went down, I believe it was the second quarter, had a little mild concussion. He shouldn't have played, as mentioned. They got him out there. It was a very entertaining game going back and forth. But, hey, the better team won on this game. Syracuse ended up pulling it out 27-24.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
What do you got this week in the world of college sports? Want to get you on the line to ask a couple questions of our special guest, Mekhi Phifer. But first, I want to hear about what do you got for college sports this week? And before that, first I want to hear, did you think that hit on Aaron Rodgers that hurt him was dirty and late, or do you think that's just part of NFL football? And secondly, what do you got this week for college?
Man, that was not a dirty hit. I'm a Minnesota Viking fan. That is not a dirty hit.
Icon said the same thing.
He was in the process of going for the tackle. If it's Cam Newton, is it dirty? No. If it's Tom Brady, is it dirty? Yes.
Ooh.
If it's Drew Brees, is it dirty? It's questionable. So it depends on who the quarterback is for society or for sports fans to determine if it's a dirty hit or not.
Wow.
I'll leave it like that.
Wow. Well, everybody can read between the lines that they want to there, but I hear what you're saying. You're saying it has a lot to do with the size of the quarterback and the size/status of the quarterback in the eyes of America.
I just saw Cam Newton the other week slide, take a he slid after he ran, and the dude still hit him and they didn't throw a flag in Carolina.
Right. So the dude was out of the pocket. So we all know that. We've seen Aaron Rodgers scramble and run.
Right.
So he's out of the pocket. So at that point, he becomes,
he becomes a runner with the football, and he has a history of extending plays with his legs.
Absolutely. We've seen him run. We've seen him skate right down the sideline for 20 or 30 yards after getting outside the pocket.
Yep.
So was that a dirty hit? Nope.
Yeah.
Feel sorry for the GOAT, but we had to lay him down on the Minnesota Vikings side.
I guess he feel good about it with his purple. Side note, completely unrelated to sports or Minnesota, but did you guys see that National Geographic type thing that was found with the Viking bones that were buried in Muslim garb?
No.
Did you see this, Victim?
No, not at all.
Speaking of Victim X, so they had, listen to this. So they found some Viking bones, a family of Vikings from the 1400s, 1500s that were dressed in traditional Muslim burial garb that said Allah Akbar.
Really?
This is a big news on the archaeological front.
How old is it?
I think it was 1400 something. I'll look it up while Victim talks about football.
Wow.
But
yeah, because you just dropped a bomb on us. But into this college football, well, I go through it real quick while you pull up some of that research.
Yeah.
So, just 1 through 10 real quick. Alabama, they pulled off a big win over Arkansas, 41-9. Penn State got the win. I keep saying the name. Heisman Trophy candidate, Saquon Barkley. Keep your eyes on him. He's the real deal. We had Georgia over number 3 Georgia over Missouri. We had number 4 TCU over Kansas State. We got Wisconsin over Purdue. Ohio State over Nebraska. Clemson losing. They was number 2. They dropped down to number 7. They lost to Syracuse, as we just previously talked about. Miami over Georgia Tech. The Oklahoma Young Sooners, they came back and got a win.
But what do you got coming up is what I want to know about. What everybody wants to know about what's happening this weekend. Everybody watched the games on Saturday. They're trying to figure out, is this next Victim character for real? Can this dude keep his streak alive of 3 big picks looking for number 4? The pressure is on. Under pressure. Pressing down on you. Pressing down on tips for them to see.
Man,
what do you got?
Games is coming.
Okay, let's speak on it.
the big game, we got Penn State, Saquon Barkley, going up to Ann Arbor, Michigan versus the Michigan Wolverines.
They need to. They want to bounce back, right? They want to bounce back up there.
Yeah, they won back. Michigan got to bounce back after losing to another call that I did a couple of weeks ago. Losing
Right,
to
Michigan State
Spartans. So this week I'm going to go with Penn State. I can't go against Saquon Barkley. Can't go against the kid, and I like them all white uniforms. Penn State is a traditional style. Traditional style. They play in between the lines. They got two big receivers, and their quarterback is a stud. So I'm going with Penn State. I suggest you go with Penn State too, Ozone. So then the next game is the next big game on the West Coast is going to be USC at Notre Dame.
Ooh,
USC.
big game.
I'm kind of I believe in the kid Sam Darnold for USC. I believe that him playing away from home and not having all this pressure on him, being, so-called a Heisman candidate and all that, I think he'll be able to do some work. Notre Dame not getting a lot of TV coverage this year, but they're ranked number 12 this year right now. So this game I'm kind of on the fence with, but I gotta roll with SC. And the reason I'm going with SC is and I'm not a big fan of them, but I believe going into Notre Dame and with so many teams losing in the Pac-12 this past week, it gives USC a chance at the Pac-12 title game. So I think, the early losses in college football always helps with the, going into the bowl time.
Right.
So I think, SC will pull the win off on the road. So I'm going with all the road teams this weekend. So Penn State, put your pick in, is locked, and let's go with SC. Let's lock it in.
SC camp. Uh-oh.
SC camp.
I done kicked my cord out. Go ahead.
Yep, so this is how we doing. So if y'all want to, make some cheese, make some bread, if y'all like what I've been saying for the past couple of weeks, roll with Next Victim. Hit me up on the Twitter. I'm there. Don't listen to nothing that Icon say, 'cause he's nasty.
Hater.
But,
Hey, let me ask you this. I got a question for you. So for me,
Yes,
college football is so tough for me to watch because there's like 10 billion teams. How do you narrow it down or decide which teams that you should watch? Or how do you find
If it's not an alumni scenario.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you do that?
well, it's just going – think about all the teams or all the players that you like in the NFL.
Okay.
They have to come from the college football scene, right? So you start learning which teams you like around a certain player, because it goes all the way back to the foundation. So, as we said, a couple of weeks ago, it's like I like Michigan State because, Irvin Magic Johnson came, from Michigan State. And think about all the talent that comes, out of Michigan State after Irvin Magic.
Yeah.
So,
They set the tone.
one of the big names right now is who? Draymond Green. We got another basketball player, in the NBA that just, scored a nice contract with Gary Harris playing in Denver. So you got Steve Smith. So there's a bunch of names. If you want to say college football, we'll go Chris Carter. Chris Carter went where? To Ohio State. So Minnesota Vikings. Those are my squads. So that's how I pretty much roll with them.
Yeah, because
That's how I pick.
with the divisions and all the teams, and it's hard to keep up for myself. Which what and then deciding what conference is better than the other conferences.
I think it's a matter of preference. It has a lot to do with because the different conferences play different styles of football. It's kind of like deciding between the American League and the National League. Oh, I want a game where they, actually bunt the runner over. No, I just want bombs. Oh, I want a speed game. I want this, I want that. And in that, you can help. I think that a lot of people just choose based on proximity. A lot of people literally, there's 100,000 people going to multiple college games every Saturday.
This sure are.
100,000 people in one place. I've had that experience before.
It's crazy.
When I used to date a girl that went to University of Michigan, and she took me to a game. I couldn't believe it. I had never seen that many people in one spot. 100,000 people, and everybody's walking to the stadium. You know, people tailgating. It's young folks, and this is in cities. This is what would you say, Victor? Maybe 20 cities across the country. You have 100,000 people showing up live every Saturday.
Oh yeah,
Especially in
You
small
say
towns, right?
That's what I
Ann
mean.
Arbor, Michigan. You say Alabama,
Tennessee.
You know, South Carolinas. You know, it's so many.
I mean, UCLA.
So
Realistically,
many
it's about
big
100,000 people that go to the
UCLA.
Rose Bowl. And depending with SC, you have almost 100,000 people. You probably good 70,000 people.
Depending on who they play.
Depending on who
You'll
they play.
get 100,000.
If that SC Notre Dame game was at the Coliseum, you would get 90,000 people at the Coliseum in a completely uncomfortable setting.
You're not interested in that setting.
I am completely uninterested in the Coliseum setting to watch football. I went for a soccer
so much
match.
Tradition.
A lot of it is tradition.
I went to the Raider games. It was one of the worst experiences ever.
Yeah. And that was before the stadium was beat up bad.
Yeah, because
The stadium is bad. Like to the
too
point
much
where
violence in the stands, and you know,
that's very unique to
the Raiders.
It's very that doesn't.
No, that's
really,
why I'm talking about my experience when I went to a Raider game at the Coliseum.
Yeah. What I'm saying is we're talking about college, and the Raider game in the '80s at the Coliseum is a different animal than the SC game. I see you're traumatized.
It's a lot of bad stuff going there.
I'll say it's always great to take a kid, you know, to a college experience.
Right.
For many aspects, you know, you're taking them to a college game. So then you're giving them that education of, you know, the experience of college. Then the actual football game with the bands and everything that's going on, the atmosphere, you know, and you're not paying $100,000 for a seat.
No, you're not.
And
you're not.
You're not seeing too many people, you know, fighting or anything like that. It's just a completely different vibe.
It's a totally different atmosphere.
Some cats being pushed down the stairs or something.
Oh, why you gotta bring that up? Why you gotta bring that up? I told you I didn't push him down the stairs on purpose. We were excited about the touchdown.
Okay, my bad. I thought it was a push.
It was not a push. The officials have reviewed it. It was not a push. But you're right though. It is a good experience to take a young man. I'll say this: in my household we weren't big on college football, and if we were, honestly, I probably would have ended up playing football because the first time that I thought to myself that I should have played football, and I was heavily recruited to play football, as you know, that all of my friends know. Once that the coaches saw that I could move my feet to play baseball and basketball, at my size, to play football was a no-brainer to be on the offensive line. And I never wanted to do that until I got the rush of the crowd going to stadiums with hundreds of thousands of people in it and seeing what that's like and being on the field to do the coin flip and all that kind of stuff. It's like, wow, I can see how this is addictive because it's like a drug. Right. So it's a different atmosphere. You should go. You know who wants to go? HBO Ballers star Donovan Carter would like to take you to a game. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Him and Troy OG are gonna go. But we got our special guest about to walk into the door, ladies and gentlemen. Star of stage and screen, a personal friend, and a semi-sports aficionado, but an all-around great guy, Mr. Mekhi Phifer.
Give up 1 2 1 2.
Drop the hot 16.
1 2 1 2.
Oh, people sleep.
Microphone check.
By the way, people sleep right now because Kai P got bars.
Oh, does he?
Look
like you he brought something back in his mind. He was like, oh yeah,
because he got a hot jam.
I ain't spitting in a minute. I ain't spitting in a minute.
That'll slow you down now.
Since I was spitting.
He got bars though. He got bars. He might need a warm up or two, but he got bars.
You know what's so crazy? On the way over here, I was just talking to my mom's, and she was telling me how 8 Mile was on TV, I guess, yesterday or something.
Really?
And she was like, I was just flipping through the channels. I said, let me watch this damn thing again. She was like, y'all played those roles, baby. Y'all played those roles. I was like, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Appreciate the love.
Oh, my goodness. We got the 15-year anniversary coming up. Oh, we got one of our longtime contributors to the OZone. Next victim is on the line. Uh-huh. And he's just dropped his college football report, but he had a couple questions that he wanted to ask you. But real quick, it's 15 years,
crazy,
man.
Feels like yesterday, man.
15 years feels like yesterday.
Yesterday, man. We was going crazy in Detroit.
Are you crazy?
We was
2002?
wilding out.
Who you telling?
I got some stories about you, man. We ain't gonna get into all that.
Not right now.
Not right now.
That ain't suitable for the recording. That ain't suitable for the recording.
It ain't suitable. But no, man, that was crazy, man. That was like, it's funny because we were all like just, all of us. I mean, young, carefree.
Young, positive dudes for the most part.
Absolutely.
They're young, positive dudes. And the right people don't understand. I bring that up, obviously not just because of our connection, but I bring that up because people don't understand that when you're making a movie, it's very similar to putting together an athletic team.
Absolutely.
Because it's a team.
Absolutely.
And you don't want any cancers on your team.
Absolutely.
Fit, right? The puzzle has to come together, man.
Yeah.
And in this situation, despite what people may think, on 8 Mile, Kai P was the team captain.
Okay.
That was the team captain. He was the vet because M isn't, for one, he's an introverted dude except for when it comes to his art.
Right, exactly. He expresses himself through his art.
He expresses himself through his art. And for two, that was M's first movie. That wasn't he didn't have an experience like that on the set.
Mm-hmm. That's why we rehearsed for a month.
That's why we rehearsed for a month, which is actually also why we all became such good friends.
Absolutely.
Because we spent a lot of time, 3-4 hours a day of rehearsal, leave you 20 hours a day to while out.
And then because I remember us going crazy. I mean, we partied all the time.
It was a lot of good times.
But we worked.
It was a lot of work went into that movie.
We worked, you know what I mean? So it wasn't
We worked on the scenes outside of the official rehearsals.
Exactly. And that's why you see such chemistry on the,
Absolutely.
That's what the disconnect. I was just talking to my wife about this, about how I was like, what's going on with movies these days? You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like, I walk out of a movie now, it's like, and I'm gonna 2 hours wasted.
I'm gonna tell you what's going on.
They're retreads.
I was just about to say, because everybody's busy trying to take elements from other movies that have already been successful,
rather than creating their own lane.
Right. And we're all gonna pick and choose as artists. We're all gonna pick and choose what we use to lean on.
Absolutely.
That's part of the deal.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, in real life, you gotta innovate.
Right. Absolutely.
Nobody had seen anything like 8 Mile when 8 Mile came out.
Absolutely. And out of all the hip hop movies or, movies, 8 Mile stands alone.
It stands alone.
You know what I mean?
Stands alone.
And what's so funny is like, and today, these days, when I do a movie, I always try to make production do rehearsals.
Yeah.
Like the last film I just finished in Louisiana, I went out a week early so we could do rehearsals.
Right.
Because it was, it needed it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times these days they just hire everybody. They throw people together because of whatever, names or whatever.
Social media followers.
Social media followings.
That cat got 2 million.
What the hell that got to do with anything? It's so stupid.
And what did that got to do with anything?
Make a good product. And so what happens is you wind up watching these films where they didn't have any rehearsals, no preparation.
You can tell.
No chemistry. The storyline is messed up. How you spend $100 million on a movie and the script is bad?
And the script is terrible. You can't even follow the script.
The script is horrible.
Is that on the writers? Is that on the writers though, or who is that? Who is that on though?
It's on. See, the thing is, like what O was saying earlier. See, it's not. Making a movie is a team, so putting all these components together to make something that is memorable, that is classic, is a team effort. So it starts with the studio, it starts with the writers, it starts with the studio allowing the writers to actually have more input once they buy the script.
Right, because a lot of times they buy the script and
then throw you to the side.
Get out of here.
So then it comes to the director, what he wants. The actors, how serious they are.
I'm
They're not
give
on
you an
some
example.
diva nonsense.
I give everybody an example that's listening. If you read the script for 8 Mile, the construct of 8 Mile was totally different than when we actually got there and everybody saw everybody and then they said, you know what? This ain't going to work. He was supposed to, B-Rabbit was supposed to be working in a hotel.
Right.
And he was working in a hotel and doing stuff in a hotel that didn't have the same impact as him working in a car factory.
Yeah, in a factory.
Especially in Detroit.
Especially in Detroit.
Right.
And that is something that came about from the vision of Curtis Hanson, who's still the best director that I've worked with. I would say Curtis is, he passed away, so
great storyteller.
Rest in peace.
See, that's
tremendous storyteller.
See, that's the thing. Curtis Hanson, if you ever met the director, he's like a Venice, like a beach bum type dude.
Completely.
You know what I'm saying?
Total
like,
L.A. surfer cat.
Surfer dude. Didn't have no knowledge of the hip-hop world, hip-hop culture, but he knew how to tell a story. And then you had all of us that were willing and able to form a camaraderie.
Yep. To facilitate
where you can
that
see that.
storytelling.
You know, like so we spent so much time. Remember in the car scenes?
Oh, man.
We spent days and days, hours coming up with our own improv.
Our own stuff. I mean, this is how I'm the dashiki. This is how all this came about. Is from being in the
not
moment.
Not only that, the three.
I don't know. I'm not in the industry, but maybe some cats, maybe like once you up in there, hey, I want you to do it this way, this way, this way. Don't touch it, but don't change my product. This guy.
No. But this is what we're saying. That's not on. Few people have that kind of juice.
Right.
In this scenario, this was the director who set the tone, and he set the tone for all of us to feel loose enough to create.
Exactly.
And that was.
And then that's when you get magic. You know, that's when you get magic. It's not cookie cutter. You know what I mean? Listen, the 3 1/3, our name,
the 3 1/3,
the 3 1/3. That's we came up with that.
Yep.
The handshake,
the handshake. The 3 1/3 came about because talking about how, which is very relevant in the world of sports today, about how blacks were considered to be less than a man, less than a whole man.
Right.
And so we went with 3 1/3 because it was a bunch of brothers and a couple white boys in the group.
Right.
So there's
and Detroit is 3 1/3.
and I'm the obvious, which is Detroit is the area code of 3 1/3.
Right. So it all just made sense.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I'm saying. So like, you know, it was a pleasure for us to do 100%. That thing together, you know, and we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for
no doubt
those type of films and those type of things.
Know, and I tell you what, to this day, I've been in a lot of stuff since then, man. I've been blessed. I've been in a lot of stuff. Man? Yeah. Obviously, you've been in a lot of stuff before then. I hadn't been in a lot of stuff before then.
Right.
And to this day, people still come up to me about 8 Mile more than anything.
Yes.
More than Ballers, which is hot now.
Right.
More than CSI, which was the biggest show in the world.
Right.
I mean, you get off the plane. I give you the story. We were shooting a movie. With Spike in Italy, and everybody got done working late. We went to this restaurant, which was like somebody's house. And they were like, "Nah, we closed. Hey, it's sorry, we closed."
We closed.
And I was squeezed into the back of the car. So I finally pretzel myself out of the car. I get out the car. I get into the spot. I walk in and they're pushing everybody away. I was like, "What happened?" They were like, "Whoa, 8 Mile! Hey, it's the 8 Mile. The Beer Rabbit. Come on!" We went in there. Life was good. We drank the wine. We ate the pasta.
Right.
And this is in a tiny villa this is a tiny village inside of Tuscany on the outskirts of Italy. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
The movies are a powerful medium when done properly.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, you don't get to see a lot of that
You
now.
gotta let the creators create.
You do.
Come on, man.
You do. And you know, and the problem is because it's almost a lost art form because it's all about the dollars to the powers that be.
Right.
So they don't even think. And look, the powers that be aren't artists. So
these are numbers.
So they don't even respect the process. It's just like as an actor, when your agent calls you and says, "Okay, you have an audition tomorrow." And it's 5 scenes. And you go, "Yo, hold
Come on, man. I need to do work." Yeah, exactly.
I need to read this. I need to, learn my lines. I want to go in there. I don't want to be.
I need to know the context.
I want to be off book.
I need to be 100%. I want to give you the work that I'm going to as close as possible to what I'm going to give you if we get the job.
Exactly. So that's my thing. It's like I'm missing those type of films, like at least the ones that I've been in, like the Soul Foods or the even Paid in Fulls. Those type of films.
Just set up your bump. That's it. I saw it the other day. He said, "You bump, I got a G for every bump on your face."
See, that was all ad lib. You know what I'm saying? Because you in it. You know what I'm saying?
Acting like you the only one getting money out here, B. I got a G for every bump on your face, you bum.
But that's what you get when you're spontaneous and you having a good time and you really into your character and you're not confined, to okay, we just got to make the day or whatever it is. It's like we get to really have a process. We get to talk about it, and so you can just throw things in there. Like there's scenes that were added in Paid in Full that like with me and Wood riding in the car when he just gives me the cherry Beamer and we talking. That's all ad lib.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Brand new.
The scene where I'm crying in the car. I wrote that scene.
That was fantastic.
It was all fantastic. I appreciate that. But it was all just off the cuff from experiencing living in that role.
Right.
Yes.
That's what films are missing these days.
Yeah, it feels like
That's why when you walk out of a movie, you go,
It doesn't resonate.
And
You're
I
like,
tell
whatever.
you, the foreigners have picked right up on it, because if you watch foreign films now, the foreigners are so far ahead of us on the movies as far as the quality of the films.
yes.
Well, yeah, and they're not predictable.
Right.
Which is crucial.
Right.
You don't know what's going to happen in the foreign film. You're like, whoa, you crazy?
I watched this Korean movie the other night on Amazon called Handmaiden. That was like,
I know you've been speaking highly of that piece.
It's almost light porn in certain ways, so you have to be careful. It's not for the kids.
9.5 weeks.
Yes.
I just finished the movie like that. Don't bring the kids.
Don't bring the kids. But at the same time, you have no idea where this movie is going. And it made it so that you couldn't stop watching. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a big deal. Victim, I know you got stuff to do. You got anything that you want to ask our special guest besides the wind tunnel that you're in right now? Because it sounds like...
How do I stop it?
It sounds like you're outside with Chuck Yeager trying to break the sound speed record.
I'm out here. I'm outside with the Santanas, with the Santana winds, right?
Man. But you got any questions before you go?
KP, it's always a pleasure to rap with you. Always a pleasure to see you. Ain't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, man.
But
love is always love.
Out of all the flicks that you've done, what was the most challenging, and who was the best person besides the dude that's sitting on the right hand of you right now? Filming the movie with?
Well, probably the most challenging that I've ever done was a couple, but one that it was probably Clockers. It was my first time ever acting, my first time ever on the set. I appreciate that, but it was my first time doing anything. It was my first time seeing camera lights and cameras and DPs.
And waiting around all day.
And waiting around, and just going through these different scenes and working with all these great actors and Spike Lee and all these other people. That was probably my most challenging because I was the lead, so I was in there.
Yeah, you're the guy.
Every day.
You're the one.
Every day for 14, 16 hours a day. So that was probably...
There was some big heads in that movie, too. You was in line with some big heads in that movie, too.
No, absolutely.
Was Delroy Lindo was in that one?
Delroy Lindo, Harvey Keitel, it goes on and on, man. I mean, Francis Foster, John Turturro. It just goes
Spike,
on and on.
I mean, at the top of the list, you get...
Did you feel intimidated?
Yeah, I mean, I remember the first day that we went and we actually walked to it was like a couple of days before we actually started shooting. Spike did something for the community, it was almost like a carnival. Because
I just went to his thing this year. We went out to his Brooklyn Loves MJ.
Yeah, exactly.
He does great stuff like that. He's actually great about that.
And he knew that we were going to be impeding on the community,
in the neighborhood,
in the neighborhood, in the projects and everything. So he threw a whole thing. It was like
smart
pony walk, petting zoo and all that kind of stuff. And he walked me around where certain things were going to happen that I had already read in the script. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, I was like, oh shit, I don't know. I don't know if I can pull this off. I was like, yo, man, this is real right now. Because I didn't know it took all of that. When you're watching a movie, you just think it's the actors. You think it's just people just doing their thing, but you don't realize it's 250 people looking at you, and not even counting the extras and everything else.
Yeah.
And when they yell action, it's on you.
Man, let me tell you something. Put my cousin in the movie, man. My cousin is hilarious. Watch. She can do that old thing you do all the time.
Right.
Go and put it in.
Action.
My mama said,
cut. And see, that's what I'm saying. It's tough. It's a tough job, man. It's not easy doing what we do. And it's kind of a little bit insulting when people come up and say, yo, man, I want to be an actor. I can do what you do.
Oh, yeah, what's up, man? Put me on.
That's like walking into a surgery saying, let me get that scalpel, man. I'm thinking about what you do. I'm thinking about, taking out spleens.
I'm going to fix this meniscus real quick.
Give me 5 cc's.
I can help that sciatica. I got you on that.
I played Operation.
Right, exactly. So that was one of probably the toughest, just to get into the groove of. And obviously, I've had other challenges, but that was the toughest, just getting in.
Next victim, thank you for your expertise. We're going to continue on with Kai P for a little while. We'll wrap with you soon. Thanks for the contribution to the Ozone. We'll heed your picks.
All right, do that. Y'all have a good one.
Go on.
All right, bro.
Yeah, man. A picture you was in came on the other day. I actually watched it. I forgot about it. It was one of my faves, which was
Oh yeah,
that
was challenging. That was challenging.
I can imagine.
Yeah,
it's a sports related film.
6 days a week because when we originally started, it was just an independent. Mm-hmm. But while we were shooting, like 2 weeks into it, Miramax had seen the dailies and picked it up. But it was a tough shoot. 6 days a week.
Hard work.
We had to do, basketball, camp.
Right.
You know, to do the choreography.
To make everything look right. Yeah, exactly.
Do all that
exactly.
stuff.
How much had you played before?
I played ball for sure.
It looked like it in the movie.
Yeah.
I definitely played ball.
He didn't give you the actor work. Whatever.
Right.
What are you doing?
That's traveling.
That's traveling, man. You can't.
You got to
dribble. What are you doing?
What are you doing? But speaking of which, we got the NBA starting tonight. Who you like in the league, man? Who you liking out there? I know that you're a casual sports fan,
Right.
except for the boxing, the
boxing,
MMA.
yeah.
But I know you keep up with everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of people that are, obviously. I mean, I can go with the, the obvious, LeBrons and whatnot,
the Cavs, the Warriors shot,
Durant's and Steph Curry's and all that kind of stuff. There's not one particular person, that is like okay, I'm following this dude.
Guy. Yeah, but this
know,
kind of feels like the movies a little bit,
right? You know what I'm saying? Because remember, back in the days, you followed Michael Jordan.
Yes.
You followed Larry Bird.
Yeah.
Yes.
You followed Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Yes.
Those are,
I'm with David Robinson,
right.
man.
All day I'm with David Robinson.
All day, yeah.
You know what
it's
I'm
real.
saying? And so nowadays it's a little different. And then too, outside of the court, sometimes, you get, sometimes cats are a little younger now. They're a little like...
They're real young, and they do stuff that's unacceptable.
They love more millennials when it comes to...
I agree.
They dress a little different than I would dress.
Given $180 million.
Yeah.
I would find some pants that fit.
Pants really tight.
Right. Pants mad
Pants
tight.
extra youthy.
Right.
Extra youthy.
Extra youthy. You know what I'm saying?
XY.
Right.
Pass me the XYs.
Right.
Pass me the nut crunches.
The XYs.
I can't breathe.
Oh, those are the ones. Give me those.
Pass me the nut crunches. So it's a little different. You know what I'm saying? I remember back in the days I was being a fan of Charles Oakley and Ewing.
Yeah.
And, I'm a New Yorker. So, I'm going to go with the Starks and all of them and Houstons and
Stark was nice.
Spreewells.
Yeah.
And all masculine dudes.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So it was just a different time. So, I watch, believe me, but I'm not as emphatic about it. You know
Right.
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
that one of the things is that it's corporate now. We were just talking about that earlier, man. All the games are watched down now because, corporate. The corporate game
At
brings
which
you
point
down.
they become a bit more predictable, just like the movies become a bit more predictable.
Exactly.
At which you're looking at sports for the spontaneity of what can happen.
Absolutely.
Right. And a lot of sports have lost that, unfortunately, which is what I wanted to bring up from the sports element dealing with you, is that MMA is making leaps and bounds gains, against
boxing.
Against boxing. And me, myself, I prefer boxing. Just because of they're both violent sports.
Right.
The excess bone crushing, head pounding kind of nature of MMA, I'm not crazy for. I respect it. And I respect the idea that you may be an expert in jiu-jitsu and T may be an expert in grappling. And you know what I mean? And then y'all mix it up. But given that, with the spectacle that went on with Mayweather McGregor,
right?
And this year there's been several boxing matches that have been fantastic.
Right.
This has been a great year for boxing.
Nice weekend. This
past weekend. That's what I wanted. This is what I wanted to speak on.
Yeah.
You seen in this past weekend, Showtime put on a wonderful show. They put on a great card, a triple header with a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
To me, the standout in that was that kid Jamel Charlo. And him and his brother, they're twins, and they're both nice.
They're both nice.
Nice. That kid that he knocked out in the first round isn't a bum.
He's not a bum.
That kid Erickson is not a bum. I've watched him.
He's not a bum, and he's not a journeyman. He's a fighter.
He'll be back.
Yeah, he'll be back.
And,
he just got caught,
He
man.
got caught. That kid set him up, though. If you watch it, the kid set him up. It was early in the round. He throws a jab, and he went low.
Hit him with the right.
Checked him with the right
that was
uppercut.
nice, man.
And I mean, my man Erickson was reaching for the.
That's when you know you knocked out.
That's when you got the power.
And when the ref stops it, when the ref stops it, you can't be mad after you.
No.
You can't be like, no, he shouldn't have stopped
because you was over there.
Nah, you got to go see the doctor.
You have to go see the doctor.
You got to go see the concussion specialist.
Yes, absolutely.
You got to.
But all three of those fights were good. I thought the Lara fight, everybody brought up a great point. The Cuban fighters kind of get a raw deal on this because they're really into hit and not be hit.
Right.
Erislandy Lara beat up on Gausha, and in my opinion, Lara actually beat Canelo in the fight that they had, but they robbed Lara.
They did. I think they were just trying to make Canelo a star.
They needed that,
and they needed him in the following of Mexico.
No doubt about it.
You know, they were grooming him. He was being groomed.
He was being groomed. He didn't
win that fight.
He did.
No, what do you feel about the Triple G, though?
I don't think it was terrible. I think Triple G won the fight.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I think they're looking
There's
at it
more
like
money,
I think
there's more money in Canelo.
And I think that they looking at Triple G's older.
Yeah, he's already talking about retiring.
He's already talking about retiring. How many more fights does he have in him? It's a politic game. That's what I do not like
about boxing.
And about boxing. And another thing I don't like about boxing is they don't unify the belts. It's like why
they don't force unify the belts.
They don't force unify the belts. You have to be a hungry fighter and have your team be hungry in order to unify the belts. And then you can walk around.
Yeah, but that's that stable issue, though, that they have. Because, you know, everybody has their own stable of fighters. You got the De La Hoya.
No,
you
I got that.
Mayweathers,
I totally get that.
They can't get together.
Now,
that's another
lies
thing.
The issue.
But
because then, if you want to have it on the other way, most of the UFC guys don't actually get paid.
Right.
They all fight who they're supposed to fight, but they fight who they're supposed to fight.
They don't get a lot of money at all.
Behind
you have to be a star in MMA.
You
have to be McGregor. You have to be McGregor.
Or
Ronda Rousey.
Or Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean?
Even Mighty Mouse. You know, he's not even the top paid yet.
Yeah.
And he's the best. He's supposed to be the pound for pound best fighter ever.
Yeah.
So, you know, but like it's like you look at like back in the days, right? You watched heavyweight fights. Heavyweights used to be the champions of the world.
Of the world.
It wasn't even a question.
It was Muhammad Ali.
And everybody
else. It was Joe Frazier.
George Foreman.
It was George Foreman. It was, you know,
the Giant.
Larry Holmes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
And
guys that get you out of there.
And you followed them. And they were the champions of the world. Now you got all these different divisions. You got Joshua over here. You got Deontay Wilder over there.
Right.
You got so-and-so over there. And it's
King
like
Kong Ortiz over here. Blah, blah, blah over here.
It's just like what they got. Now Wilder, he can't even get a fight.
I feel bad for this dude,
I feel bad for him too because he's fighting the same dude that he beat up before.
Yeah.
It's like,
and truth be
there's
told,
no real reason for it to be a part two.
It could go the wrong way for him.
It could.
And mess up his legacy.
Mess up his whole shit.
Exactly. It's true. And he's got a fighting on November 4th. Truth be told, I'm thinking about going to that fight. That should be. Stivern actually gave him, I would say, Stivern bought the best out of him, out of everybody that I've seen.
I agree with that.
But because he's the only dude that didn't get knocked out.
Two.
Well, here's the only issue.
Without other people.
No, before.
Right.
I agree with that. They're saying, but here again, King Kong Ortiz gets popped on the juice.
Right.
Before that,
like three guys in a row?
Three guys in a row that are
row.
supposed to be fighting him that's on the needle.
Hey, can I just say this to boxers, MMA? Stop the juice. They're
Come
going
on,
to test
man.
you. They're going to test you.
Stop it.
Stop it. You're messing up your money. You're messing up the fan.
Come on, man.
You're messing up the sport.
You're messing up the sport, man. Stop it, man.
It's too far.
Respect the
Just
sport.
hit the gym.
It's too far.
Just hit the gym. You know what I'm saying? And really, steroids, and the thing is, people don't realize this, steroids doesn't really even make you stronger. It just helps you recover faster.
That's the issue. That's the issue.
Just sit in the ice bath. I don't know. Get a massage.
Get your cryo.
Get your cryo on.
Yeah.
You got to find alternatives.
How about
man?
never falling out of shape in the first place? This is your job. It's your job, man. This is what they pay you for.
And not only that, it's not only is your job, you could die in there.
Exactly.
And somebody else could kill you if they're on the juice.
That's what I'm saying.
Because maybe they actually have the discipline to stay in the gym and hit the needle.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And in the words of Deontay Wilder, that's murder. I can't be on no steroid, dog. That's murder. I could kill somebody in here. He ain't lying, though.
He ain't lying.
He got that knockout drop with him.
Dude. And he's probably one of the most athletic heavyweights of today's time.
So, just as far as athleticism, that guy moves more like an athlete than a lot of boxers do.
My problem with him, like I said before, is that he fights down to the caliber of fighter that he's fighting.
I agree.
Right.
I don't like to see that.
I hear that.
I agree. But now, so say he loses Stivern on the 4th, right?
Yeah.
Say he loses to Stivern. You're going to say he fought down. See, I told you. The problem is he didn't really get to prepare for Stivern like he was supposed to.
And he's not getting a fair shake.
He's not getting a fair shake because 2.5 weeks ago, he was fighting a different dude. He was preparing for a whole different style of fight.
Absolutely.
With King Kong Ortiz.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And truth be told, I don't even know the last time we saw Deontay Wilder in a fight that was a real fight.
Right.
I know that he was in that fight with the Journeyman for the last dude that was juicing that he couldn't fight back in March, something like that. So it's been like 7 months. He fought that guy, I think his name was Gerald Washington. You remember the school teacher guy? He fought the guy, and actually that dude was giving him problems for 5 rounds.
He gave him some heavyweight division. No, it's just
guys play football.
Right.
Guys my size play football.
Right. That's right.
And truth be told, in the condition that I'm in now, I could hit the gym, play football, and if my feet were white and my leg wasn't crooked now, I could go and play some football. You have to be in shape to box. You can't play boxing.
Serious shape.
And not that the football players aren't in shape. You guys, you have to understand what I'm saying.
It spurts
the kind of
shape.
The kind of shape that you're in football for the position that they want to use me.
Right.
They want me to be 315 pounds.
Exactly.
In a boxing match, I can't last for 3 rounds at 315 pounds.
No.
Because the big version of me in a boxing match, ideally, is 240, 250.
Right.
The big version of me playing football is 340.
That's the high end.
That's a giant. That's Anthony Joshua.
Right. That's right.
That's
exactly.
Joshua.
That's
who looks like a freaking statue.
Right.
You know. And so these guys now, if I'm in high school nowadays, as opposed to the past, it's a lot easier for me to go play pickup football or basketball or something.
Right.
If I'm talking about the heavyweight division, those are socially and personally and athletically a lot more available, I think, than saying, man, I got to go to the gym. I got to put the time in to actually, learn this craft.
So you feel like the guys aren't as hungry as they used to be because we're not like, usually fighters come from hard areas.
No doubt.
Tough backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And it's just not as tough as it used to be?
Oh, it's plenty tough. That's not the point. But I think that it's the circumstances in society 100% is as hard, if not harder than it's ever been. What I'm saying is it's then in turn easier for that toughness to get channeled into a different sport than it is for boxing. Also, in football, hey, look, man, I can play my 2 years at the JC or in college or whatever it is, and then I can go get paid.
Right.
You're seeing guys now making Joel Embiid, who would be a heavyweight fighter, even though he's 6'10" or whatever. Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers has never played a full 82-game season and just signed for $150 million.
Right.
Crazy.
Why in the hell would he go to the gym and start boxing?
And go get punched in the face.
Why?
And that, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
You're going to get punched in the face.
You have to. That's part of the game.
A multitude of times. And so you're absolutely right. I totally agree with that. There's no doubt about it. And you get into boxing, there's really no guarantee of anything except that you're going to get punched in the face. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to feel the pain.
Right.
That's guaranteed.
You know what I'm saying?
That is guaranteed.
And, and who knows how paid you're going to be. And the thing is with boxing, too, what people don't realize is that you can be a good boxer. See, like Muhammad Ali, right? He was a great boxer, but he wasn't the best boxer. He wasn't the best pound-for-pound boxer. He was the people's champ. He knew how to he had charisma.
Right.
He made you want to see his fights.
Right.
He was a salesman. He made you want to see his fights.
Let's not get it twisted.
He was awesome. He was awesome. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he wasn't the best boxer ever.
But he branded himself
as such.
And people bought into it.
People that weren't even boxing fans
would watch Ali.
Who Muhammad Ali
100%.
was.
Right.
I mean, at
he
one
was the most recognizable person on the planet.
They said behind like Jesus or something.
Yes.
He was like the most recognizable person. Go anywhere.
Yep.
And so you have to also be able to brand yourself. There's a lot of great boxers. Let's say you might be a great boxer, but you don't speak English.
Let's look at Rigondeaux. Let's look at Rigondeaux.
Right.
You're talking about another Cuban, Rigondeaux, that's about to fight Lomachenko on December 9th.
That's going to be a goodie.
It's going to be a goodie. I'm going with Rigondeaux, personally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay. I'm going with Rigondeaux. I think Rigondeaux, I think Lomachenko's overrated, to be honest.
I think he's good. I think he's good.
But they crowned him like
he's the best pound for pound. That's ridiculous.
He only have 20 fights.
Right.
He doesn't have 10 fights.
Right.
I think he's 9-1.
Yeah, we got a loss. Most of the time, 9-1. 9-1 back in the day, you wouldn't even get a shot at the champ.
Right. That's true.
He's 9-1. I do believe he's 9-1. At the most, 10-1.
When Sugar Ray Leonard and them were fighting, if you were 9-1,
but see,
you didn't have a chance.
But that's what I'm saying. That goes to show you how much boxing they try to make.
Oh no, it's manufactured.
Stars. They try to make you like a person.
Yeah, and it's all about the stable. I'm telling you, it's all about that stable, man. Because they put those stables together, and then they'll just let this fight. Look at Canelo. He fights what? He won't fight again until Cinco de Mayo.
Right.
Why not?
That's a year.
Come on, man.
Right.
That's almost a year.
Right.
That keeps you very fresh to recover. But as far as being my favorite, I don't even get to see you enough. He's going to fight Triple G.
Yeah, he's going to fight Triple G.
A year later, hoping that Triple G is now a year slower,
right.
and you know what I mean?
Triple G is fighting a win again.
He was talking about fighting in December. They were just waiting to sign the papers.
Yeah, and Father Time is undefeated. Eventually,
He's undefeated. They're going to catch up
with
with you.
And let's just go back to what we were talking about before, as far as the Floyd McGregor situation. Look, and it's funny when I talk to people that aren't fight fans that don't know, and they say, "No, McGregor has a shot." No, he don't have no shot, man.
He got no shot.
He doesn't have the shot. The same way
he got carried for 9 rounds.
The same way Floyd wouldn't have a shot with McGregor in MMA.
Right, come on, man.
He wouldn't. And that's the thing. What people don't realize, and they say, no, he did good. Floyd let him do good. He got paid the most money he ever got paid, and what he did was he put on a show for the fans. It was an exhibition.
That's all.
That's all it was.
This was supposed to be an exhibition.
On some Rocky IV type shit. I know my movies, baby.
He tried to sneak that one in.
He tried to sneak that one in.
Throw in the towel.
That dude is so serious. I love him in the movie.
Great work. Great work. He's
throwing in the towel.
He sweat like a.
This is supposed to be an exhibition.
He was so mad.
He was so feeling it. But this is what I think. Look, the Floyd thing is interesting. When it comes to the McGregor, because look, it's not. Look, it was a shit show. Come on, I mean, even the press conferences leading up to it.
Oh, despicable.
The throwing the money in the air, rubbing his head.
Half of me is black, right into his crotch. Right,
come on, man.
Too far. It's too far.
It's too far, man. It's a joke.
But this is the thing, and I think the other thing is the older that you get, right? Like all of us have known each other now almost 20 years, and the older that we get in that time, you have less and less tolerance for the buffoonery.
Right, exactly.
Because you see how unnecessary it is. Klitschko fought Joshua in this year in for so far for me, my favorite fight of the year.
No question.
There's been some great fights.
That was a good fight. They both knocked each other down.
But the fact that it was the heavyweights.
Both got up.
And you had the champ versus the up and coming, and he didn't let him have it. He had to earn that. You know what I mean?
For real.
We got Josh celebrated. He was celebrating.
He celebrated.
And
the champ was like, "Are you crazy?
Let me show you something real quick.
I'm to tell you, 1, 2. You can go down too, big fella."
Right. Right.
I got that thunder with me too.
Right.
But you look at that, and then you look at the lead up, and you look at after if you could just listen to them after that fight in the ring. There's so much respect. There's 90,000 people live at Wembley.
That was crazy.
90,000 people. And they both got on the microphone like it was a concert afterwards.
Right.
They just knocked each other down. I mean, the Klitschko got knocked out, got his neck stretched nothing I've ever seen ever. And yet, they both got on and they said, "Hey, you know what? This was a great fight.
Yeah.
And this guy is the future."
Right.
And he got on and said, "Hey, look, this was a great fight. I just learned so much, and this dude is one of my idols."
Right.
And blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. It was so much better. The positivity and everything that surrounded that is so much better
than the debauchery.
Than the debauchery in the show that we keep seeing. Even look at it with Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder cusses up a storm every time that he talks about anything.
Right.
I ain't mad at Deontay Wilder. Actually, as everybody who listens to the OZone knows, I really like the Bronze Bomber. But he's young. He's young in that sense. He's young in that American young kind of way.
Yeah.
And not that it's his fault, but look at all the stuff that's going on around him. Not him, but now he can't catch a fight.
Right.
Now, eventually he's going to catch a fight, and he may or may not actually be ready for it because he hadn't been fighting for the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Joshua's biding his time. He's playing. My thing is none of these guys are Boy Scouts. I'm not a Boy Scout. But let's keep our private lives private.
Exactly.
And we have this situation coming.
But they use that as a sales tool now.
I agree. And that's because everybody goes along with it.
Yeah, because this is what the people want to see via social media and everything else.
But what happens is you take away when you use if your whole life is surrounded by social media and the instant gratification and the instant viewership and how many views do I have?
How many likes?
Yeah. What happens is everything that you do dwindles down. You know what I'm saying? Sidney Poitier made a great comment years ago when he said, "Look, nobody's going to come see your movie on Friday if they can see you in the club on Saturday." You know what I'm saying? If you have to have an allure about yourself, so that when you do show up,
exclusivity.
When you do show up, it's like, "Oh, snap!
Hey man, look who's here!
I can't believe he's here. I don't know much about him."
Forget about it. I remember one time we went to the house. We went to your house, and you had a birthday party, and we were leaving the house, and Denzel Washington came in.
Right.
I remember I was walking out.
Right.
You should have seen it. It was literally like Moses had showed up.
Right.
I mean, it was probably 300 people at the party.
Like, oh, snap.
I was like, it's like the music. It's getting the DJ stopped. Everything stopped.
Right.
He walked through with his Yankee cap on, his hat down, but just enough everybody could see what time it was.
Right.
Everybody got out of his way. Wasn't no AD, man. Wasn't none of that.
Wasn't none of that.
Well,
nothing
of that.
but respect.
It was nothing but respect.
And that's the problem. See, what happens is you got these and look, they're young athletes. And they're impressionable.
Yes.
They're impressionable by the music, the rap music or whatever. They're impressionable by everything else that's going on. They're impressionable by social media. So they think that, okay, I'm here. I can just say whatever I want and this and that and blah, blah, blah. But what happens is you wind up taking the allure away from you.
Yeah. There is none.
There's nothing special about you.
Nothing
You just comment at that point,
No,
right?
you just comment about that point. Yeah, exactly. You doing what everybody else. And not only that, what's be killing me is how you have some celebrities, a lot of celebrities that will comment on the comments that are made to them. In their instance, like, why are you arguing with somebody that's in their mama's basement? Dude. Right, in their mama's basement in a tighty whitey. Why are you arguing with him? He ain't making nothing of himself. You giving him credibility?
You giving him credibility.
Why are you doing that?
That's true.
Shut the F up.
Because social media makes people do that.
Right. And that's what, and I'm telling you, we're seeing a scourge of there's a couple things. We're seeing a scourge of people that aren't. Now we know everything about you. We know everywhere you go,
right?
Everything you eat, every time
you leave town,
and it ain't even business purposes. You just hey, I'm here.
Right. Look, I'm here drinking my water.
Right. Good morning, people. Good morning, good morning, my Facebook friends. Come on, man. Nobody wants to see you in the bed. Why? You know what I'm saying? What want to see you for?
And even if they do, they should have to pay for that.
Right, exactly. So not only are you deluding yourself by doing that, but you're not even giving off any information. So when you talk, I don't necessarily. I want to be E.F. Hutton. When I talk, I want people to listen, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you're always talking, people going to drown you out. It's like being a parent that constantly yells at your kids. Right. Eventually, the kids are going to be like, man, go ahead, man, with your yelling and screaming. Ain't nobody trying to hear all that, man.
I know.
Man, watch out. You standing in front of the TV, man. Watch out.
My iPad, man. Calm down.
Exactly. So that's that's where I'm at with it. So that's why, too, a lot of times when, it's harder for me. I love boxing because I think it's a pure sport.
Yes.
And it's only two
and it's
people,
one discipline.
And it's two people in the ring.
That's it.
You can do all the stuff talking.
All the
talk
stuff,
all of
but once
everything.
that ding, ding, ding.
Once you say ding, 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 it's y'all.
That's it.
And that's what I love about it. There's no time for shenanigans or foolishness.
No. Except in that Floyd Mayweather situation.
Well, that was like you said. That was it's so funny, man. A good buddy of mine, a good boxer friend, Shane Mosley, good cat, man, real good cat. He told me, he said one day, I was talking to him about Floyd.
Yeah.
And he was like, Floyd's a great fighter. He is. He said, but, Floyd only fights when he needs money.
Right.
It's the truth.
You know what I'm saying?
Everybody knows that.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He needs some cheese, so you know what? Let me go out
and the thing you have to give him credit for is then with that, because he's kept himself reserved and held back as far as access, then what ends up happening is, wow, this is the spectacle. I want to see the spectacle, as opposed to a lot of these other dudes who are constantly available and constantly in the ring.
Exactly.
So then Floyd ends up making, a Brinks truck worth of money behind a fight that really wasn't even competitive.
And look, as much as you could say whatever, Floyd is a great fighter, period. He is. He's a great fighter. You may not like his style. You may say, well,
no. His skill is not in question.
Because
the
skill art of boxing is to hit and not get hit.
Your skills are extraordinary. It's real.
It's real. Now, you may not like him or like his style or think he's a little ostentatious. You may think
for me, it's all about him just not boxing the right people at the right time as far as the sport goes.
Right.
But what he said and what is true is I ain't getting brain damage.
I ain't getting brain damage.
So he ain't trying to get punched in the face for money.
Exactly.
Actually,
but that's why Andre Ward quit. And
I'm so proud of Andre for quitting.
Listen, who else was he going to fight?
He has nothing to prove.
Right, and they keep trying to make him move up until he gets knocked out.
Right,
exactly.
Get older and get knocked out.
Yeah. Pretty much. That's what they want him to do.
He got his money. I don't know how much he's made, but he's made
He made some good money.
He was off for a couple years.
Yeah, but he's one of the only Jordan branded fighters.
Right.
He retires undefeated, and you know what? He'll get a boatload of money announcing fights until eternity.
Exactly.
Right.
Because he actually breaks. I was just about to say he breaks down the fights.
He's a good announcer.
He's got great insight.
He's got great insight and honest insight.
Yeah.
He doesn't play around.
Right.
So. Well, Kai P, it's always a pleasure having you. Man. We can sit around here and pal around all day. All right.
Let me ask you this: what's that spade game looking like?
Listen, let me tell you something about these spades, man. Listen, listen to the audience out there. There's a running, thing going on that, when I go to Big O's house.
And a Phifer family rivalry. A very loving, friendly rivalry.
It's me and my boy Lawrence Adisa. That's my lifetime spades partner. Okay, so we hold it down. We both from New York. He from Mount Vernon. I'm from Harlem.
And they like to beat up on our cousins from the CPC. They like to beat up on our cousins.
When Macau coming back?
You better let me know when Malachi coming to the house. They've known Mekhi for a good 20 years and still call him Malachi. I love it. Tremendous black work, ladies.
I love it. Now we get it in over there, so my spades game is still on point.
It's tight.
I keep my spades game sharpened.
Keep it sharp.
Okay. I'm hip to I'm privy to all the new moves. And
you took the seminar?
I took the seminar.
I watched the TED Talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, this is great. I mean,
this is love.
You got anything else you thinking of?
It's good.
This is love, man. I'm glad to be here with you, man.
Forget about it. You're always welcome. You
love.
drop by. We record every week. Anytime that you want to even just call in about a fight and you want to chop it up.
Okay.
Obviously, this is the OZone Unfair and Partial Sports Podcast. We are not PC.
We're not PC.
We tell it like it is.
Yeah.
Other thing is I did want to speak on, though, is I just want to give you a chance to talk about what you're doing right now, where the people can find you,
Absolutely.
where they can find you on social media,
Gotcha.
and where they can find you and support, because I've been with you for 15 years now. Ladies and gentlemen, Mekhi Phifer is the first star that I hung around. And this is a star in the true sense of the word.
That's love.
Because,
man. Likewise.
Because this dude, he taught me a lot. And I remember going through the mall. He's like, look, I ain't running through the mall.
Those kids. I ain't know that kids. I ain't going through the mall.
They told me one time we went to the mall. It's like, look, man. You running through the mall, they gonna start chasing you.
Running through those malls, man.
Tearing your shirt off and all this stupid stuff.
Give him the Jackson 5.
He was like, I ain't running through the mall. I'm getting my clothes. I'm walking back to the car. And that's it. And then we gonna leave. I was like, all right. I don't really know how it works. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I mean, I'm coming from California to my first winter in Detroit.
Right, and it was
in
real.
Some shorts. I got my shorts and some T-shirts. They're like, yo, what you wearing? What are you doing?
Real. It was real in Detroit. That's hilarious.
It's a trick because everybody knows I have a very smart mouth, and I used to get roasted just like everybody else on that set. We had a blast. We had so much fun. And I tell you, though, honestly, I want the people to know, because I've been around you before, and I know how loyal your support is. Mm-hmm. Your fan base is loyal. People, right. I mean, people come up to me and ask about you. So I know that it's there. Where can the people find you? What can they look forward to? Talk to them.
On Instagram, I'm Mekhi from Harlem.
Okay.
Ironically, right? And then, Twitter is the same thing, Mekhi Phifer. But I have a couple of movies coming out. One called Canal Street that I did with Michael T.
Love T.
Man, we put it in. That was my first time playing a prosecutor, lawyer.
I saw the pictures.
Yeah.
You look sharp.
So we getting in it. We getting it in. We got Bashir in it. It's a bunch of people. Harry Lennox.
Okay.
Jamie Hector.
Heck, me and Heck got the same birthday.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
That's my man. I got love for Jamie.
And me too.
Oh, so that's dope. And then I just finished the film. I just got back from Louisiana doing a film called Ruthless.
Okay.
Which is kind of like a suspense thriller. It's kind of like I was telling you, like has a little 9.5 weeks.
You meant you just got done doing it. I thought you meant just got done seeing one. Yeah, okay.
I was getting it in.
So you was in there butt naked with the little red drawers.
It was hot as a motherfucker too. But yeah, no. So just staying busy, man. You know how it is, man. Just working hard, man. Got a couple more things, on the horizon. So. Doing what we do, man. This is, people ask me all the time, so what's next and what's going on? Listen, this is
I
a
don't
career.
know.
This is a career. You know what I'm saying? It's not about what I did before, but it's about a body of work.
It's about the
and
whole
and that's what we create. We create a body of work. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to do this. Listen, I was talking to on the last show I just finished. I was talking to the executive producer, and he was like, "Look, man, between you and me," and he's an older white cat, my man John Kreshman, and he was like, "Look, between you and me, we got over 50 years in this business." And he said, if you can make it past 10 years and work consistently and never have another job, right, then you got a career.
Right.
It's as simple as that. You're good at what you do.
Wow.
It ain't a fluke. You know what I'm saying? Because I know a lot of cats that I came up with in the 90s. I don't see them no more.
They ain't there.
They just ain't there.
They ain't there. Same with me. Guys that I came up with in the early 2000s that hit me, on Facebook or on something, talking about, it's good to still see you out there, man.
That's what I do, man.
I committed.
And it's the work, but it's also the work ethic that you have on the set. It's how you gel with other people, how you establish relationships, and then people just learn to respect you. So when your name comes up, it's like, oh yeah, now I can see that.
No doubt about it.
For sure.
No doubt about it. And I've never heard anybody disrespect you to your face or behind your back. In this industry, I've never heard people talking reckless. No, you actually have heard somebody disrespect me last time when I wanted to mash his face in. I'm gonna give him a pass. I ain't gonna put him on blast.
Oh, your man.
Your man. Your man. On the AM dial. Yeah, I remember on your AM dial.
What was he doing? What was he doing?
Bugging it out.
What was he bugging out? What's wrong with that cat?
I think he might have a
I think he got problems.
I think he has an internal problem.
He got problems, man. Because I was standing there like, what you doing?
That's what he told me. I was like, wow, really?
I mean, I promise you, I was ready to take off.
How comfortable you feeling right now? Why are you feeling so comfortable?
Why are you feeling comfortable like that? You're feeling loose. You're feeling loose.
And you ain't my man like that.
I see you. You ain't been to the house.
You ain't been to the house
once every 10 years or so.
You ain't been to the house. What are you doing? Don't talk slick.
Don't even talk slick. Don't play like you talking slick.
I don't know why he did that.
And we got 1 million cameras on.
That's the only time, though. That's
the only time. It's the only reason you talking slick right now. And now, right when the cameras left, you want to talk about the poker in the room where you want to talk. It's all jokes and fun and blah blah blah. Get out of my face, man.
I don't know why he was wilding with that one.
He got a problem. He got a problem. He's about to have a bigger problem. But whatever. I heard that about multiple. That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. I've heard that multiple times.
Sorry that we keeping y'all in the dump, but we can't.
We're positive brothers. So
we're positive brothers. We ain't trying to hurt nobody.
That's it.
Right. Exactly.
That's
exactly.
It. But yeah, no, I think that's key. And I tell you, having that career, I think one thing that I learned from you, something you told me early on, is that acting is a portal to any world. Mm-hmm. It's Absolutely. A portal. It's an opportunity to step into any world. It mm-hmm. gives you license to learn about so much stuff.
Absolutely. That you would never put yourself in experience.
Right?
Yeah. You learn different languages. You learn cultures. You travel. I mean, you have to be a different character.
If the people are going to believe you.
If the people are going to believe you. And you have to be believable.
And you have to be believable.
Good. So that's,
Then there's always that.
But listen, man, you killing it on Ballers, though.
Thank you, man.
I really like the show. Y'all doing your thing. I know you're having a good time.
Having a good time. I hope we run it another,
Jasmine
5 years.
Delay getting married.
Yeah, man. You talk about a love connection. Chuck Woolery over there. I'm gonna tell you something funny about that too. Is that as my man Donovan was here, he came stopped through the OZone once, and we were laughing because season 1, mm-hmm. Jazz was getting out of a relationship.
I know.
And Dulé was actually trying to figure out where he was in his life in the game. Yeah, exactly. But he had decided that he had his eyes on her, so he was trying to take her out. And she kept doing all this kid stuff where he would call her to take her out, and then she'd call me and Donovan talking about, hey, y'all trying to go get some tacos? We going to be over at the Whoom Whoom Whoom. So we thinking it's a group activity, like, all right, whatever.
Like, yo, what y'all doing?
And then
what y'all doing? Why are you here?
Then like, what's going on?
I showed up and I see my man. I'm like, I'm embarrassed.
Right.
I show up, I see my man. I'm like, didn't make my tacos to go. I'm not. I wasn't even. You know what? I got something else to do. Look at the time. And I ended up telling her. I said, listen,
I'm not playing referee.
Dulé in the end. Dulé is my homeboy.
Yeah, my boy.
I actually like Dulé. He's my friend.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. And also, Dulé has my phone number.
Right.
Directly. I don't know if you saw, but Dulé was out bowling with us, and we was, we was hanging out on TV and all that stuff off campus. Dulé is actually my friend. So if he wanted me to meet him up for tacos, he would have called me.
He called me.
He didn't call me. He called you for tacos, and that means something totally different.
Right.
And now, obviously, the tacos led to margaritas, which lead to, all kind of lovely stuff. Now love is love, and we getting ready for the nuptials.
The nuptials. Yo, let me ask you something. Who were you with at the game the other day?
That was with Dave Winfield. I was sitting with T. That was with T and Dave Winfield.
That's crazy. Yeah, I saw y'all over there.
Yeah, he was on my right.
I was right to you.
Oh, yeah.
I was at the game.
Said he was there.
Yes, and you dipped.
I did because I dipped like around the
seventh, something like that, right?
Yeah, like eighth, right there.
The same time.
Yeah, I hit you when I looked
avoid
down.
the traffic, man.
Yeah, the same way,
man. You crazy?
You crazy?
2 hours in the parking lot.
It was real getting there.
Oh my goodness!
It was so
I don't care
officially
who
real.
playing. I don't care who's playing.
I don't care. Yo, that was real.
Babe Ruth could be
on the radio.
Babe Ruth, I don't care who it is.
But you know what was funny? I was right to the right of y'all, maybe a couple rows back. But I was in just and what happened?
Yeah. When you hit me,
Edie pointed you out.
I didn't see y'all, man.
Because he was standing up or something. He said, "Yo, Big O's over there."
Soon as y'all look down and you hit me, I hit you back, and then next thing I know, I didn't hear from you. Next thing I know, you was like, "Yo, man, I'm at the crib."
I was at the crib, right?
At the crib. Oh, you still at the game?
You still at the game? Crazy.
I'll see you next week.
I'll see you in the Ozone. We'll talk about the game. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see it's always love here in the Ozone. I want to leave you with a wisdom quote because the two fellas in the room, along with Ernie, but the two fellas on the mic in the room have taught me a lot about wisdom in my life, and I feel like this is a fitting quote from Lee M. Brower. When we take on the attitude of arriving, we surrender our growth, productivity, and meaningfulness along with the opportunity to joyfully thrive. We're here, folks. We're here for you, talking sports, talking life. This is the Ozone with our special guest, Mekhi Phifer. Tune in. The Ozone.
Ozone.
I'm just living the dream.